Hi and welcome back to BookTube with Amy. Today is going to be my weekly wrap up of what I've been reading. So first up, I tried to read Nevernight by J. Kristoff. So this was on my TBR that I had set myself to complete by the end of the year, which by the way I will never mention again after this video because I've now since abandoned because October hit and I wanted to read loads of spooky books and did that instead. So I'm a terrible mood reader and it's fine. We just need to accept that. If you watch this channel, you'll never have any idea what I'm going to read ever, despite me trying several times to do TBRs. Just doesn't work for me. So I'm going to read and review whatever the hell I want. Sound. So I tried to read this and I couldn't get past the 100-page mark, and so I DNF'd it, which I know will get me cancelled. Loads of people love this. J. Kristoff, for some reason, is revered, and I just cannot really get behind him. I tried to read Illuminate earlier this year with Simon. We were doing a wee buddy read of that, and I got like 50 pages in and was hating it, and I'd say to him, do you want to read it and see if you like it? And he read less than 50 pages and was like, not for me. So I thought I would give him another go, in case it was maybe like the joint writing style, or maybe that book was just not really to my tastes. So I tried this and it obviously didn't go well because I DNF'd it. So Mia is an assassin and she has been wronged quite early on in her life. She can't rely on anybody else but herself. She decides that she is going to become the deadliest of all assassins and take revenge on those who have wronged her. Sounds awesome, sounds right up my street. Like, has a map, which we know I just love. Like, any book that has a map is a standard I usually love. This one broke that mould, and no in a good way. I just couldn't buy into Mia as a character at all, and I found it frustrating that everybody was just commenting on her appearance and how plain and ordinary and not pretty and ugly she was. I just feel like that has nothing at all to do with her skills as an assassin. So that was a bit frustrating. I know that people haven't liked this book in the past because they feel like it's sexualising a child a wee bit, because Mia is only 16 and there are scenes that are a little raunchy. Age of consent in the UK is 16. That didn't particularly bother me, although I did only get it obviously early on. I didn't finish the book, so perhaps that's something that would have concerned me later on. I just couldn't get into the writing style of it either. It just jumped too much for being the narrator describing a scene and then getting like what actually happened, and I tried to do it physically and I also tried to listen to it on the audiobook as well to see if maybe that would work a wee bit better for me. So I did give it a square go. No, I did. That's like the Scottish coming out in me. I did give it a fair go, but I couldn't get into it. I just really didn't enjoy it. I don't think that I'll give another J. Kristoff book another chance, to be honest. That's two I've tried now. I just haven't really got on board with the characters, the writing style or the story, and I've DNF'd them both. So I think that he just isn't for me, and I know that loads of people love him, but I personally just don't get the hype at all. And Ange from Andy's Book Chatter also DNF'd this. I actually got further in it than she did when she DNF'd it. I know that she didn't like it either, so when I told her I was reading this, she was like, prepare to hate it, and she was absolutely spot on. I hated it. It was rotten. So it was pretty much after that and Crescent City that I decided, like, I'm doing away with my TBR and I'm just going to read whatever I want. So to cheer myself up, I decided to read Cults Uncovered. And that's by Emily G. Thompson. So I've said this quite a few times in the channel before, but I love a book about a cult. Like, I don't know why, but I just find them so inherently interesting, because I feel like these cult leaders are always like the biggest personalities that they can just get all these rational, smart people to follow their way thinking. Like, in the manipulation, to me, it's just fascinating. Like, I just really love it. I know I'm not the only one, because there are millions of books and documentaries out there. Like, so people clearly find it fascinating. Not just me, but so I had picked this one up a wee while ago. I can't remember if I got this in a charity shop book haul or if Simon got me it for Christmas. Either way, I read it, so I really did enjoy this. I think that the good thing about this book is, although you get like your big well-known cults, I nearly say cunts, as much as you get your big well-known cults, you hear about smaller ones as well that maybe you hadn't been privy to before. There was a couple in this that I learned about that I found really interesting that I didn't know much about before, so it was great for that. The only thing that I felt was missing a wee bit for me in this book is we could have had a wee bit more detail about all the cults. It was very much like an introduction, so it was like, this is the cult, this is the leader, this is like the followers, this is what they did, this is how they eventually got took down, this is what the person who was in charge of the cult is doing now. It's very formulaic for me, and I think that it would have been a wee bit more interesting if we had went in depth a wee bit more, even if there was less cults included in the book. Maybe they could have selected like a handful of the cults and did like a proper deep dive. I think that I would have enjoyed that a wee bit more. That being said, I binged this in like a day. It was just so needed after my string of rotten books, and so I rated this one a 4-star. Like I say, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and if you are just looking for a wee introduction to a whole horde of cults, then it's definitely the book for you. If you're looking for something a wee bit more in depth about a particular cult, I wouldn't recommend it for that. And then I read As Old as Time by Liz Braswell. This was also on my end of year TBR, but it's just a coincidence that I decided to pick this up after also deciding to abandon my TBR, which just like proves how much of a mood reader I am, because when it was on my TBR, didn't want to read it, decided I wasn't going to do my TBR, wanted to read it. Such a rebel. So this is one of the Twisted Tale series. This one's by Liz Braswell, but I believe later on in the series there's a couple of other authors. I think there's Jen Cantilina as well that writes books within the same series. This is the first one I've read, and I don't believe that it's the first one chronologically, but it was the first one that Simon had ever bought me, so I decided I was going to start with this. It is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. So the twist in this one is, what if Belle's mother cursed the beast? And I am a huge Disney fan. I mean, I'm wearing a Disney Villains t-shirt right as I film this, so obviously I am. And I really enjoy a retelling of a story that I love, so I've been collecting these. But let's say I've been collecting them. Simon picks them up every time he goes and does the messages, because he's just cute like that. But I'd never actually read one, and this is the first one that I decided to pick up. It wasn't the best retelling I've ever read, but it certainly wasn't the worst. I feel like for the first half of the book, it is basically a play-by-play of the Disney film, which like is fine, and I enjoyed to read it. Like, I enjoy the film, so it was fine. It just wasn't earth-shattering or anything different, really. And I think that in a way let it down a wee bit, because I was expecting to get this whole other story, and for half of the book the twist didn't really come into play at all. And I feel like they didn't do as good a job in this one with the character of the Beast as they could have done. I feel like he wasn't really explored properly, because they were focusing on the twist with the mum. Like, I just felt like it was very much like alright, this is the focus, and now this is the focus. So for the first half of the book, it was just setting up the story, and there was no character development. And then when it came time for the twist to kick in, and we were focusing on some more character development, it was all about Belle and Belle's mum, really, and not so much about the Beast. And I feel like we all know that the Beast's character development is the whole reason why people love Beauty and the Beast. Well, it's certainly the reason why I love it, and so it was just lacking that a wee bit for me. It was still an enjoyable read. I think that probably on the younger side of YA, definitely. I think that you could give this to a younger child. There's nothing in it that is steamy or anything that you would need to watch out for, any bad language or anything like that. So I definitely think younger YA. Maybe that's why in the beginning it stuck so true to the film, to try and encourage younger readers to read, which is great. But as for me, a fully grown woman, I was just expecting a wee bit more for it. So I rated this one a 3-star. It was very middle of the road. I'm going to continue with another book in the series, but I reckon what I'm probably going to do is I'll jump into the Ariel one at some point next, because like, if I'm going to like them, it's probably going to be the Ariel one, and if I don't like the Ariel one and it's still a bit middle of the road, then I might pass on some of the other ones. But we'll see how we go. It was a bit just alright. So that's it from me this week. Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you're reading just now, and I'll see you next time. Bye.